Hello, I'm Holly Hughes, CMO for BAI. Welcome to the BAI Deep Dive on serving customers in 2021. There's been a significant shift as a result of the global pandemic in 2020 that will no doubt have a lasting impact on the way consumers and businesses interact with financial services organizations. A recent BAI Banking Outlook survey showed that 52% of consumers have been using online banking more since the start of the pandemic, and 87% plan on maintaining their usage of digital services even after in-person banking resumes in full. So I'm really looking forward to our conversation today and getting perspectives from two industry leaders on this topic. We have Dan Hoke, who is Senior Vice President at U.S. Bank, responsible for retail network distribution, ATM, and cash management. Hi, Dan. Great to have you with us. And then we also have Ravi Vakacherla, who is Chief Transformation Officer at People's United Bank. Ravi, thanks so much for being with us today as well. Dan and Ravi will be sharing insights on shifts and trends that they're seeing in customer experience as we head into 2021. So let's go ahead and jump in. Dan, I'll start with you. Really a question for both of you, but we'll start off with you in terms of what are you seeing from your perspective as it relates to customer behavior and channel usage trends, and how do you think that will continue to evolve in 2021?
Thanks for the question, Holly, and hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me today. So it's been more than 6 months since banks began overhauling their service channels to serve customers during the pandemic, but I expect there's still room to make more changes as customers evolve and changing preferences. While customer behavior is likely to remain changed and uneven in the next year, giving banks many more opportunities to analyze recent behavior changes and determine what's working and what's not. The ability for banks to monitor and react quickly is really the key to determining who wins in 2021 or not. So some banks have announced branch consolidation plans, a development that really isn't surprising, given the massive consumer preference changes, as well as some of the economic challenges in the current pandemic. So when we think about branch consolidations continuing, branches and banks should really continue to look at rethinking their business models and around different ways of engaging customers and developing new revenue streams. Even selecting new branches and new growth areas, I think those are all on the table. And depending on the intensity and the frequency of more COVID-19 outbreaks, I think call centers are seeing increased and will continue to see increased demand, especially as retail branch interactions could decrease with those outbreaks. So the agility of banks to respond to customer channel preferences is a big deal. It's going to be key, including the agility for moving branch bankers around to serve customers, including over to support the call center volumes as demand ebbs and flows.
Yeah, great points. Ravi, how about from your vantage point? What are you seeing at People's?
First, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I would agree with most of the points that Dan made, right? Agility is key. We are actually already seeing a significant increase in our contact center volumes, right? We've already had to adjust. A number of our branch employees have come together. We have taken a group of them. We've trained them. Now they're also supporting our contact center. We've had to make those adjustments already, right? We are looking at overall contact center modernization. So those are key pieces. We are seeing that, and we do agree that while there is a change in customer interaction, there is significantly more digital. For example, we are seeing 35% more digital activity, significantly increased digital enrollments. The amount of usage of mobile deposit has increased. Most of the digital key metrics that we measure have all gone up significantly, right? And call center volumes have gone up. We don't think this is a transient change. My perspective is that while there might be some adjustment to the curve, it is going to be still a new normal where those customers who have now gotten very comfortable with alternative or non-physical interaction will continue to be in that space. So that said, I do think branches will still be significantly important once the activity gets to be normal. So it'll be a new normal, if that's the word that I think I've seen very often used these days. But I would agree agility would be key, and we are also working on evaluating all of our capabilities across our digital and automation to make sure we are able to meet the customer's needs where they would like to be served.
Thanks, Ravi. Let's talk about digital a little bit more. The idea of adding a human touch to digital transactions isn't new, but it's gotten more attention in light of the pandemic. In what ways are your banks doing this now, and how do you expect it to evolve in the coming years? Ravi, let's maybe start with you talking about that.
Yes. So a couple of things I would say. In terms of general digital capabilities, I would say this is true of People's United and probably true of other institutions. I don't think this pandemic has changed or created new requirements as much as what has does it. It has woken up all of us to the urgency of doing things and adjusted our prioritization. So that's the first statement I'd like to make. So most of what we are rolling out or have rolled out was always in the roadmap. We just had to adjust our sprint planning on what's more important and where do we focus our efforts. That's the first thing. And we've also taken significant increased prioritization of the digitization efforts within the bank, whether it is more serious look at e-signature, complete electronification of our workflows. And from an online customer onboarding standpoint, there are a few things that we took into account, right? One is providing a co-pilot capability so that the customers, if they have a friction point in their journey, somebody can help at the same time when the customer wants to be helped. Taking online account opening as an example, there are things that maybe previously we would have put at a later sprint. We've now incorporated them as part of example, debit card, ordering a debit card or ordering checks or seamlessly signing on into their mobile and online banking when they are doing an online account opening are all part of our workflow now. We're also considering a fund later option so that the customer can be onboarded and then at their leisure, they can decide how to do the funding. So that's basically removing the friction and trying to put ourselves in the customer's shoes and doing that digital workflow that way is what we're doing. We also assign, for example, even though a customer is completely onboarded electronically, we assign them a branch banker, for example, so that somebody from the branch can follow up with them. Or if there are applications that are stuck halfway, we have a set of people assigned to call the customer and ask them, is there any way we can help complete the next step of the process? The last part I would say is after you onboard the customer, making sure their experience is seamless, right? Because let's face it, most of the banking applications are not like the iPhone. Nobody looked at a manual before you used an iPhone or some of the newer technology. But for most banking applications, you would need to know how to use them. So from that standpoint, providing the customers with small sets of seamless digital education tools and for the employees too, so that they can, so we have a concept of digital ambassadors, right, where our employees know how to serve the customers and we have additional tools that we've invested in with a number of fintech partners so that we can make sure it makes it easier for the customer to be able to look at a piece of functionality that they would want to use and just focus on that, understand how to use it. So those are the things they're focusing on.
Yeah, I think that employee piece is so important to make sure that they're fully integrated into the process and able to help the customers, even though they're, quote, a digital customer per se. Dan, how about U.S. Bank? What else are you all looking at in order to humanize digital transactions?
Thanks for the question, Holly. So we think of three levels of customer service. We have full service, assisted service, and self-service. And digital transactions are generally associated with self-service, but I believe adding human touch is generally associated with assisted or full service, but that's changing. We need to think about how those things are evolving due to the pandemic. So the pandemic has created more opportunities to take the assisted service and merge it with digital. And with that in mind, I'd like to use the theme of let's do it together. Maybe that makes more than assisted service. And Ravi mentioned Copilot. And while I can imagine a side-by-side session in a branch, I think the future will include more co-browsing sessions in the digital or virtual environment, thereby really adding human touch to the digital services. We're seeing a tremendous demand and interest from customers They have a banker co-browse with them through their digital interactions, especially on the front end to get started. The co-browse, of course, allows employees to view our digital properties alongside the customer through a website, online banking, and the mobile app. We use co-browse to assist the customers as we reshape the way in which we do business with them, giving them confidence and really sharing the let's do it together human type of touch to digital.
Yeah, and a great point to your earlier comment, too, about, how do you use employees most effectively with these shifts? So someone who maybe is a branch employee, their branch is closed, you can, have them do some of this help, maybe through the call center. So some really great perspectives. Thanks for sharing. Let's talk about the branch a little bit more. So while digital has been the headline and has played a huge role in 2020, branches are still important. I think at BAI, we host a number of different executive roundtables, including with channel leaders within banks. And we're still seeing varying degrees in terms of how many branches are open, how they're functioning. Dan, I'll put this one to you since I know this is a big part of your role. How will the branch experience, do you think, once they are fully opened, how will it evolve in 2021 to accommodate customers' changing needs and employee safety at the same time?
Yes, I'm happy to answer that. The utilization of channels really did vary by generation through the COVID restrictions, but really, then you look at it, no customer segments completely left any channel. And so banks have to be really astute in terms of which segment is using what. And yes, Gen Z continues to find comfort and gains confidence in face-to-face interactions with bankers. And as expected, older customers were more likely to use drive-thrus. So this indicates that customers are adapting to lobby closures, but still want access to people and branches for servicing. There's a trust element there that's still valued. So I want to focus in on something that you mentioned about health and personal safety, because that's increasingly important. We're seeing that show up in surveys, especially as they interact with the physical environment. That's true for all the customer segments. In our service model, we're really trying to make a visible demonstration about the consideration for personal safety by modifying and adding extra elements to our service areas in our physical branches. And with that in mind, we've relocated ATMs to be more customer-facing to the outside of the branches versus having customers come in to do transactions. We've also added some renovations to increase space between customer service areas. We've also added highly visible sanitation stations and social distancing signage and visual cues to help customers with their journeys. And I think looking into the future, all of these things will be important to give customers the confidence to have their personal safety and health top of mind in using the retail branch network, thereby reinforcing their choice to utilize the physical branch channel in connecting with the bank. With that, I think we're all learning as we go as well, but the physical channel is definitely dependent on health and safety in the near term in 2021.
Very good. Thanks, Dan. Talking a little bit about, consumers and the branch experience, certainly the pandemic has impacted small businesses and mid-sized businesses quite significantly. Banks and credit unions have jumped in to help to secure PPP funding as part of the government stimulus program. This process certainly required many banks and credit unions to make quick updates to processes and technology to accommodate the deluge of PPP loan applications and now work through the forgiveness process, which is, I think, equally challenging for many. Ravi, People's United Bank announced upgrades to its digital platform to help better serve its business clients. How will these improvements help your clients in 2021, do you think?
So yeah, most of our upgrades, pretty much all of them, we make sure that they are done primarily with the customer experience in mind. So I'd like to walk you through a little bit of what happened during PPP, just for context on what are all the factors involved in us being able to serve as many customers as we were able to, right? The first thing is, from a pandemic standpoint, while the common phrase is COVID-19, right, we do understand that the pandemic has impacted different customers differently, right? So the first thing is from our customer-facing colleague standpoint, the three rules, three most important rules: listen, 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 right? So don't presuppose their problem, right? So that's an important part of it. and then there is the technology aspect too. So when the PPP time, if you remember back, I know it's a few months ago now, but there was very little time from the time the guidance was received on the exact clarification on when we were able to start doing that SBA CARES Act PPP funding. So I remember having this call at 11 o'clock saying we got full clarity, like 11 o'clock on a Thursday or a Friday, I don't remember. And we decided that, okay, we needed to put something together. By the time we were able to build out the application, there are some things we needed to do pretty much the next day. By Saturday morning, we wanted to be ready. Thursday morning, 11 o'clock, we had the call. So we had a small group of people come together very quickly, and in a 12-hour period, they put together a combination of SharePoint and RPA, right? A basic prototype on this is how we can accept the applications, answer the customers' questions, and be able to accept more applications so that we can serve more customers, right? So we did that RPA SharePoint combination. We were able to get that together, and it was amazing to watch all the branch people, commercial bankers, small business bankers, technology teams, operations teams, all come together. And it was very amazing for us to watch, and we created a core group, right? So in addition to using technology and putting the best people to solve and create an RPA automated solution in 72 hours, we were able to also train, and everybody stepped up. Everybody was willing to do their part. We had shifts. We had 24/7 shifts to process the applications. We had groups of people, 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, so that we can help our customers. And then as days went on, we were also able to use one of our fintech partners, Numerated. They developed a PPP module, and we took advantage of that. We have been using Numerated, and the bank has been using fintech partners for a while now. We have Blend on the mortgage side. We have other tools like Horizon for simulators and digital training, etc. So our fintech partnership has been around for a while, but we were able to take advantage of that. And that was a fast way to be able to immediately react and make those digital enhancements. And it was a combination of technology and people, and thinking about the customer first is what helped us go through this. And the same thing is what we are applying for all of our digital enhancements across all platforms, whether it is on the mortgage side, small business side, consumer account opening side. All of our features are now essentially taking into account the new situation, which is not everybody is comfortable with a physical interaction. We have done most of the things that Dan mentioned as well, plexiglass, increasing cleaning capabilities, creating the appropriate appointment options for people so that they can come in via appointment, making sure our drive-through setup is all appropriate. So it was a combination of those things.
Great. Yeah, I love that. I think that's kind of could be a headline for this conversation in terms of just listen. You know, when it comes to really serving customers effectively, understanding what their needs are, how they're evolving, that agility, that sense of urgency. I think you were both well positioned as organizations heading into the pandemic because you did have a strong infrastructure and you could just maybe adjust your priorities or the speed at which you were moving to really make sure that you were serving customers well. So we've covered a number of topics. You know, would like to just kind of close things out in terms of, you know, how do you see customer service evolving in 2021 and beyond? And Dan, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, I think that we're all evolving to the changing customer preferences, and at the same time trying to plan ahead and finding what I'd call distinguishing characteristics. And digital activation, I like to think, is a little bit like, now bear with me on this story, is sort of like a sprinkler that's set up to water the yard. But really, the engagement and the value comes as the water pressure makes its way through the sprinkler. So it's really important that all of us are thinking about the value creation and not just the setup of the digital adoption. And with that in mind, I'd like to just share a story about voice technology and looking ahead to 2021. Voice technology and the ease and convenience is becoming increasingly common in everyday life, and that's why U.S. Bank is moving forward with a smart assistant to create a voice-first design on our mobile app, which progresses beyond the typical chatbot And that type of interaction allows the immersion of U.S. Bank customers an experience of speech response paired with animation and the visualization on the app. So the result of that and things that could change in our industry going forward is a type of experience that customers could get unlike anywhere else in the financial services, but is beginning to evolve. And you think about other voice-activated devices in your home or in the industry or in a retail industry. So it's sort of like having a conversation with your device. And in this case, it's a mobile app, similar to how customers would interact with a banker in person by having a conversation. And so getting that information through a discussion with the mobile app, help managing their account. Customers look for that kind of convenience, especially when they're under stress in a pandemic. How to navigate a menu or know the right keywords to find out what to do can be frustrating when they're under pressure or under stress. We're really trying to find ways that can find and bring convenience to customers that result in value. And the customers find that just having a new interaction with a mobile app is something that's delightful and going to be different in 2021.
Absolutely. Ravi, how about you? What are you thinking in terms of, the overall customer service in landscape in 2021?
I would say there'll be a significant shift to self-service. There is an expectation of more retail experience in the branch and banking applications. So making sure all of our digital capabilities are more, retail-oriented, as in by that I mean Amazon and examples like that, right? Making sure significantly increase in digital experience. And also from a customer experience and the call center experience, contact center, making sure we modernize those capabilities, whether it is through virtual agents or significantly increased chat capabilities, etc. A modernization and a full, complete look at all of the customer-serving employees and the amount of technology and digital capabilities that we are putting in their hands so that they can serve the customers better, in addition to increasing the capabilities in the self-service channels and applications. A combination of both is what would help us serve the customers better in 2021 as their priorities evolve. Being able to serve the customers through a chat or digitally, if that's what they want, or through a physical interaction, if that's what they prefer, and making sure it's all full service from that standpoint is how we see, and that's where we are making our investments, digitization of the bank, increasing our digital capabilities, and essentially continue this transformation.
Great. Thanks, Ravi. Well, Dan, Ravi, thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing such great insights. And also thanks to all of you who are listening to the BAI Deep Dive video. Hopefully you'll find this information valuable and share it with other colleagues or people on your team. And you can find more information on this topic as well as a lot of other thought leadership topics on BAI's website, which is bai.org. Again, Ravi, Dan, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
My pleasure.